All right. All right, crew. What is up, everybody? Let's let the Discord know that we are live. It's going to be a little dark in here until I do that. Real quick. Send out a few notifications over there. Discord is always the best way to get notified before we go live. Let's see. Refresh the page. Bring up comments over here. Okay, you probably just heard an echo there. All right. We should be good. We should be good. What is up, everybody? Wonder Bro here once again. And today we're going to be talking about anxiety recovery, accepting, okay, accepting self talk, not arguing with thoughts and feelings. So there's a difference between worrying about the thoughts and feelings. Some people get it confused. They're like, "Well, I'm using accepting self-talk. I'm using accepting self-talk, right, Wonder Bro?" No, there's a difference between accepting self-talk and worrying about the thoughts and feelings. So if you're sitting there worrying about the thoughts and feelings, that is not accepting self-talk. That is worry. Don't worry about the thoughts and feelings and convince yourself, well, I'm just using accepting self-talk. If you're sitting there going, oh gosh, these feelings, these thoughts, they're back again, and then you get a thought that says I might go crazy, and you sit there for 30 minutes and you're worrying about the thought I might go crazy. You're like, oh gosh, no, it won't happen because of this and this and this, and you just go on and on and on. This is not accepting self-talk. This is simple worry, right? This is not accepting self talk. This is simple worry that you're dragging on. You're getting way too into the details with these thoughts that aren't even important to begin with. This is not accepting self talk. This is worry. So, okay, then what is accepting self talk? Accepting self talk would be, for example, okay, I've got these feelings, I've got these thoughts. I'm not going to get into the details with these thoughts because that's just worry. Instead, I'm going to just have the attitude and the self talk of, I accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm okay with these thoughts and feelings. I'm going to be as okay with these thoughts and feelings as possible. I'm not going to feel these thoughts and feelings. It's okay that they're there. It's okay that they're there. It's okay that these feelings and thoughts are there, right? Now this is accepting self-talk, okay? So there's a huge, you see the difference there between accepting self-talk and getting into the details with these thoughts, getting into a street fight as Moji calls it with these thoughts. Huge difference between accepting self-talk, right? I'm okay with these thoughts and feelings, and worry, which is, oh gosh, 30 minutes, 45 minutes of telling myself why I won't go crazy. Oh gosh, 35, 45 minutes, 2 hours of arguing with these thoughts, right? Huge difference there. Huge difference. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. Anxiety recovery, accepting self talk instead of arguing with the thoughts and feelings, right? Right. Before we get into that, before we dive into that a little bit deeper, do you guys like the new? You like the new setup? We got a little bit of a new setup going here. The background is currently kind of plain and boring. It's just solid black, but I'll find something to spice it up a little bit later on today. I couldn't decide on something right away. But do you guys like what we got going on so far? I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a nice change. Hello, everybody. Mike, Brandon, Peter, Elliot. Let's see here. Olivia, Jesse. What's up, everybody? Shirley first. Almost, dude. Mike beat you to it. Mike just barely beat you to it. Made it right on. I have to leave in like 10 minutes to go to good old Walmart. Nice, dude. Sorry, LOL. Wasn't my intention. Mike beat you to first. If my anxiety is high because I was secondary, it's on you, Mike. Olivia, what's up? What's up, Olivia? Jesse, let's get bro 2 AC. Definitely don't need two ACs. Definitely don't need two ACs. Okay, about that, which by the way, thank you so much to Joseph and everyone else who contributed for that. I really appreciate it. But about that, all right, speaking of the new AC, it's been so cold, right? In my room, it's been so cold where I stream that I just had to turn it off before we even got started here today. I just had to turn the whole thing off. It's amazing. It's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Nisha, what's up? Michael, what's up? Wonder Bro, what's up, everybody? So we're gonna get going in just a second here, guys. Accepting self-talk versus arguing with the thoughts and feelings. We went over that briefly just a second ago, but we're gonna dive into that today. Let me drop the link to the Discord for anybody who needs it before we get started. Let's see here, and then we're gonna get going. All right, link to the Discord should show up in the chat in just a second. Just a second. Some people are probably wondering, what the heck this little thing is, this little glass beer mug looking thing above my head. No, I didn't just think it looked cool and threw it up there. That's actually a little gadget gizmo thing that you get with Streamlabs. Basically, anytime we get a tip or whatever, or a subscriber or anything like that for the channel, this will fill up. This little thing right here will fill up with coins. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't know. I don't know if it actually works, but that's what it's supposed to do. All right. All right, chat. It's time to get started. Anxiety recovery, accepting self-talk versus arguing with your thoughts and feelings. Now, some people are convinced that after they have sat around and argued with a thought that they had about going crazy or having a heart attack or something bad that could happen in the future, some people are convinced that after they have sat around and argued with that thought for hours, for days, for weeks, they are convinced that they're using accepting positive self-talk, right? We've had that beaten into our heads, argue with these thoughts, fight with these thoughts. That's positivity. That's positive self-talk. How far has that gotten you? How far has that gotten you? All you have managed to do, yesterday we compared the mind, these negative intrusive thoughts, to a monkey. All you have managed to do is give the monkey steroids. That's all you've done. This is not positive self-talk. This is not accepting self-talk. You have given importance to thoughts that don't deserve importance. You have fueled them. You have given them, like I said, steroids, essentially. So if you're under the false belief, if you are under the false belief that by arguing with these negative intrusive thoughts that you have been using positive self-talk, you are wrong. I hate to burst your bubble, but you are wrong. All you have done is simply manage to fuel these thoughts, to give them importance, to tell the brain that they're important, right? To tell the brain that they're important or dangerous. That's what you have done. You have not been using positive self-talk by arguing with these thoughts and feelings. Okay? So what is, if that's not positive self-talk, then what is positive accepting self-talk? What is it really, if that's not what it is? What it is to have an attitude of, I accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm going to be as okay with these thoughts and feelings as I can be. I accept that my mind and body are acting out right now. I accept these passing thoughts. I accept these feelings. I can handle these feelings and thoughts. I'm okay with this, right? These are, you see the difference there. There's a very big difference between getting into the details and arguing with these negative intrusive thoughts for hours, days, weeks, and months, as compared to very short, sweet, and simple, to the point, I'm okay with this. I'm okay I just had that thought. I'm okay with this feeling that I have. I'm going to be as okay with these thoughts and feelings as I can be. I can handle this. Now, can't you see? There is a huge, big difference, right? And I need everyone to see that difference because it's so important. There's a huge, big difference between I accept these thoughts and feelings, which would be a form of positive accepting self-talk, and let me argue with the details of these thoughts for hours, weeks, months, days on end. Can everyone in chat agree that they see the big difference there between the two, right? I want chat to participate here. Can everybody in chat see that there's a huge big difference between the two? There's a huge big difference between arguing with the details of these negative intrusive thoughts, which is just giving them fuel for days, weeks, and months on end, and making it short, sweet, and simple and just saying, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Huge difference between the two. So if you are the kind of person, like I once was, to spend all this unnecessary time and energy arguing with the details of these negative intrusive thoughts, they don't deserve that importance. And you need to understand something. You are just making it so much worse on yourself. And this is fighting. This is fueling the fire, right? So if you have convinced yourself falsely that you are somehow being positive, or that you're somehow having positive self-talk because you sit around all day arguing for hours on end with the details, with the little minor details of these negative intrusive thoughts, trying to debunk them, right, and fight them off for hours on end. If you have falsely convinced yourself that that is positive self-talk, then you need to understand something. That is not positive self-talk. That is not positive accepting self-talk. That is worry. Through and through, in every sense of the word, that is simply worry. That is not positive self-talk whatsoever. That is fuel to the fire. Okay, and that goes against everything that we stand for here on the channel. You're just fueling these thoughts, you're giving them importance, and you're basically giving the monkey on your hip, like we talked about yesterday. You're basically just giving the monkey on your hip steroids at that point. Please do not think that you are using positive self talk if you are fueling these negative thoughts for hours on end. You are simply fueling them, right? So, again, if that's not positive self talk, what is? Positive self talk, accepting self talk, needs to be short, sweet, and to the point. For example, I'm okay with these thoughts and feelings. For example, I can handle these thoughts and feelings. For example, I'm not going to try to fight with these thoughts and feelings. I accept them. They're allowed to be here. I give them permission, right, to be here. Another example, I'm okay that the monkey mind is upset right now. I'm okay that the body's a little upset right now. This is fine, right? So these are little examples of what true positive accepting self-talk is. It's straight, it's sweet, it's to the point. It's straight, it's sweet, it's to the point. It puts you in a better place. It puts you in a better attitude of accepting. So positive accepting self-talk is always short. It's always sweet. It's always to the point, to the accepting point. Worry will always be drug out. Worry will always be getting into the little details, getting into the specifics that you don't need to get into. That's worry. That is not positive self-talk. Positive self-talk will always be short, sweet, simple, and to the point. It will always be short, sweet, simple, and to the point, because what it's there for is just to give you a reminder. It's there to put you in a better attitude of acceptance. Okay? So, huge difference. Huge difference between positive accepting self-talk, which is always short, sweet, and to the point. It consists of things like, I'm okay with this, I'm fine with this, I accept that these thoughts and feelings are there, gonna live my life. Okay? Positive self-talk is always short, sweet, and to the point. Worry is always drug out. It sucks your energy dry. It's fuel to the fire. It's giving that monkey on your hip steroids, right? You're getting way too wrapped up, way too into the little details, way too into the problem solving. This is fuel to the fire. This is telling the brain that these thoughts are important. This is telling the brain that it needs to bring up more of these thoughts and more thoughts like it, right? So, huge difference, guys. Huge difference. I know there's, maybe not a lot of people, but a handful of people out there that probably believe that they're using some sort of positive self-talk when they do this, when they sit around for hours debating with their thoughts. That is not positive self-talk. That is worry. In every sense of the word, that is worry. So I wanted to make this stream to really point out the difference between the two. You're wasting your time and you're fueling the fire. And yes, you are indeed fighting with your thoughts if you're wrapped up in them for hours trying to fight with them. Now that doesn't mean that they might go away instantly as soon as you stop. They might still be there for quite a little bit, right? But as long as you're not arguing with the monkey, screaming at the monkey like we talked about in yesterday's stream, you're good. I just didn't want anyone out there to think that they were using some sort of positive self-talk when really what they're doing is just sitting around worrying day after day, week after week, month after month. If your positive self-talk consists of more than, I don't know, this is just an example. If your positive self-talk consists of more than 2 sentences that say something like, I accept these thoughts and feelings, they can be there if they want, come on in, then you're probably just sitting around worrying. And you're not really using positive self-talk. You're just getting into the minor details of these thoughts, trying to fight with them, right? So I didn't want anyone out there to confuse their worry for positive self-talk and think that they're doing themselves some good. Because I used to sit around for days, weeks, months with the notepads and the journals trying to figure out all of my negative intrusive thoughts. Had no clue I was just fueling the fire. Had no clue I was just making it 10 times worse on myself. Had no clue I was just giving steroids to the monkey, right? And that's what kept me anxious. I was up in my head all day, every day, thinking that I was doing myself some favor. I wasn't doing myself a favor. I was just telling my brain there was a problem when there wasn't. I was just telling my brain to keep me hyped up. I was just telling my brain that these thoughts were important or dangerous. I didn't know that at the time. But now that I do know that, and I've made a recovery, I can come on here and tell you guys that if you're wasting your time doing the same thing that I used to do, cut it out. Because that's not positive self-talk whatsoever. That's not positive accepting self-talk. That is worry. In every sense of the word, When you sit around and argue with the details of these negative intrusive thoughts and fight with them, that is worry. That is not positive self-talk. Can't you tell by now that it's just working you up even more and you're not actually coming into any grand conclusions? You're not actually hitting any finish lines. You're not actually getting that much relief from doing it. In fact, it's just making you worse off. Can't you see that by now? If you can't see that by now, you will, right? So don't make the same mistake I did and think that you're doing yourself some sort of favor when you're actually just worrying, right? So if you're a fan of mantras, if you're a fan of positive self talk, that's great, but make sure you're not confusing that for worry. Positive accepting self talk would be I accept these thoughts and feelings. I accept the way I feel. I accept that I just had that thought. I accept, right? So there's a huge difference between positive accepting self-talk and worry, right? And I just wanted to make that very, very apparent and very, very clear today because I used to make that mistake all the time. All the time. All right, chat. So that was the main point of today's stream. Anxiety recovery, accepting self-talk versus not arguing with your thoughts and feelings. All right, you guys. So that was a mouthful, but I hope somebody takes something from this. I hope you realize that if you were under the false belief that you're doing yourself any favors with the worry, that you now realize that you're not doing yourself any favors. And if it worked, you wouldn't be here on my channel now. Obviously, it's not working. You're here, right? So I hope somebody takes something from this stream. Let's read some comments. Kristen says, here, here. Brian says, agree. What's up, Red? Welcome, dude. It's been a while. Wait, I think I remember. I think I remember your name. Did you used to watch the streams before? If so, then it's been a long time. How have you been, dude? Same goes for symptoms. Exactly. I've started fighting muscle tension again, just starting to accept it. It's easy to fall back into those bad old habits of fighting, but you see where it gets you. You know, you see where it gets you, and that's not very far. It doesn't get you very far at all. So, you're human. Sometimes you will accidentally pick up these bad old habits again. That's fine. You can literally start wherever you are with accepting once again. And that doesn't mean that you're back to square one. Please don't think that that means that you're back to square one. You're not back to square one, right? You just have to sharpen your skills again. So there's nothing wrong with that. All right, guys, we're going to switch to post stream for a second. Oh my gosh, that is all over the place. Oh my gosh, that is all over the place because we changed it on the other screen. So it's going to change it here. Let me fix that right quick. There we go. Good enough. Good enough for now. I'll work on that later. So yeah, the stream has been going under some work. Been going under some work, some changes. Man, I gotta go. It's going to be uploaded, brother. Well, you caught the whole stream. You caught the whole stream. So you got our main point today. No worries. But yes, it will be uploaded, assuming YouTube doesn't act up. All right. Let's see here. Have a fun trip, Elliot. You're always around, you just don't comment that often. Is that what it is? Which is cool. A lot of people, a lot of people do that. I just hadn't actually seen your name pop up in the stream for some time. Let's see. How does the new stream look on mobile? Let me see. Let me see for myself. I like it. It's cool. We need a background though. We definitely need a background. I don't like the solid black like I thought I did. We need a little bit of spice there. So as soon as I get back to my setup, we're gonna do that. I'm not okay with the solid black like I thought it was. All right. And you guys can help me. You guys can help me fix something. That's what we'll do. I'd also like to work on the Discord a little bit today. I know we just recently updated the Discord, like it got a total overhaul, but I'd like to work on it again today and maybe do a few things with it. I don't know what yet, but you know, I'm just in a mood to update everything basically. I'm just in a mood to update everything, so you might notice that the stream will go through even more changes as time goes on until I get it how I want it. But I don't know, I just figured it was time to fresh coat of paint. So got a few people from the UK, nice. Sweet, take it easy. Thank you as usual for what you do, man. You're a saint. Hey, I appreciate it, Elliot. Appreciate it. That vacate fear lettering is nice, but it's a little dark, isn't it? Do you agree, chat? It's a little dark. Might have to brighten that up a bit. Might have to brighten that up a bit. Alright, let's see. Let's see what we can do about that. Let's see what we can do about that, chat. Okay, I kind of like the hexagon thing. Let's see if this makes it any better. I think that's better. That's cool. I like that. That spices it up a lot. My anxiety started after first panic attack. What's the best approach when anxiety seems to flare up with work/thoughts of work? I'm a firefighter in fear of losing control when others depend on me. So I can't relate to the firefighter aspect, but I can most definitely relate to the losing control fear, as that was once my biggest fear. I know it's really dark in here at the moment, guys. But yeah, that was once one of my biggest fears, was the whole losing control thing. So I can definitely relate to that. Regardless, most people do start this journey over a panic attack, right? Most people do start this journey over a panic attack. So, and Peter, just to kind of touch on your comment real quick, I wish it would go away. As long as you're wishing that, you're just fueling the fire. I know it's not comfortable. I know it's not something you have to like. I'm not asking you to like it. But what I am asking you is to catch yourself when you're thinking like that and understand that that's just fuel to the fire, right? That's what we are working on. That's what we can work on. Anyway, Jay Joseph. So, most people do start their journey with a panic attack. The panic attack leads to obsessive worry. The obsessive worry leads to tired nerves. Because you got to remember, the brain doesn't know the difference between just a thought that you're fueling and a real danger. It takes all of your negative thoughts that you fuel and inject with steroids as a real danger happening now. So, you might as well have your head in a tiger's mouth, right? When you fuel negative thoughts. So, that's why people experience anxiety over their thoughts. And then as this continues, obsessive, and we have this second fear attitude and we're fueling all of these negative thoughts instead of just accepting them being there, right? Then we start to wear down the nerves. And that's how people eventually find themselves in the sensitized boat. So the way that your anxiety started is the same way that it starts for literally 99% of people. Starts with a panic attack, ends up being an obsessive thing. You start to obsess, you start to fuel a lot of negative thinking. These thoughts seem to grow stronger because you're fueling them by fighting with them, and then before you know it, the brain thinks you're under constant danger. Your nerves start to take a beating, and now you have what we call tired nerves. It's not the end of the world. It's not a fun experience. It's not a comfortable experience, but it's definitely not the end of the world, and it's something that you will come out of. one way or the other. It's something that you will come out of. So, to answer your question more specifically, um, what's the best approach when anxiety seems to flare up with work, with thoughts about work or thoughts about losing control, so forth and so on. So, I don't know if you were here. I don't know when we talked about this. Maybe it was yesterday. I don't know if you were here when we talked about context being irrelevant, but context really needs to be marked up as irrelevant while you're on this journey. And what I mean by that is whether you're having negative thoughts about work, or whether you're having what if thoughts about losing control, or whether you're having all of these irrational, just at the end of the day, just really irrational thoughts, regardless of what they're about. So whether you know Kristen in the chat's worried about muscle tension or a heart, or maybe Peter, or whatever. Context is irrelevant. Context is irrelevant. We don't want to get caught up on context, because the brain is working the same way regardless. So whether your negative thought is about losing control, muscle tension, what might happen due to my fear of heart attacks, whatever, context has to be marked up as irrelevant, right? So, no matter what your negative thoughts are telling you, whether you're at work or whether you're at home, right? It's got to be approached the same way. And the way that you approach it is you understand that if you fuel the monkey mind, then it's just going to get more hyped up and the nerves are just going to continue to overreact. So, you really got to practice taking that step back in the moment, taking that step back in the moment and catching the monkey mind in the act. So the monkey mind is in the act of getting me worked up, right? It's in the act of trying to throw all of these negative thoughts my way. I have to take a step back in that moment and remind myself I've got two choices. I can fight with these thoughts and feelings, which is just giving the monkey steroids, or I can use that accepting self-talk, which is I'm okay with this. I'm going to do my best to be okay with this. These thoughts and feelings are there. Okay. I don't have to like them. I don't have to love them, but they're there. And I'm going to do my best to continue, okay? And this is a process that you have to repeat to continue to take the step back. This takes dedication. This takes a little bit of work. I'm going to continue to take that step back when I catch myself fighting with these thoughts and feelings and simply remind myself it's okay to have these thoughts and feelings. I can handle these thoughts and feelings. They can come if they'd like. They can stay if they'd like. I'm not fighting with it. I accept, and then get on with living your life. That is the two main keys. Now, do you just do that once and done? No, because chances are, especially if you're starting from down here, chances are you're going to have to take a step back 5 minutes later and say the same thing again. You're going to have to take a step back 5 minutes later when you notice that you're fighting with the thoughts and feelings again and say, you're doing it again. You know what? That's all right. It's a habit. I accept these thoughts and feelings. I accept these thoughts and feelings for what they are. Thank you for coming. I'm just going to keep living my life. I'm not going to fight with it. I don't have to like it. I accept it. And then you might have to take another step back 10 minutes from now, depending on where you are on the ladder to recovery. You might have to take a step back 10 minutes from now. You might have to take a step back a minute from now, right? People, and I'm not referring to anyone specifically, but, from my own experience, people don't like having to put in that work. It's easier to fall back into the bad habits of fighting with the thoughts and feelings than it is to continuously catch yourself, take that step back and say, I'm practicing acceptance, right? I'm practicing acceptance. I'm practicing not giving that monkey steroids. I'm practicing not throwing gas on the fire, because the more I fuel these thoughts and feelings, the more my body thinks I'm in danger, right? So, again, not referring to anyone in the chat specifically, but just saying people don't really like having to put in that work because it is work. And let's face it, it would be much easier if this thing just came naturally, if it just naturally we were accepting people. But it's something we got to work towards instead. And people don't really like that. I know I didn't like that. I didn't like having to catch myself at first. After a while, it became easier and easier, but at first it was easy just to give into the bad habits. But after I got sick of living that way, I dedicated to putting in that accepting work, practicing acceptance, taking that step back whenever I needed that step back and saying, you know what, you're doing it again. I accept these thoughts and feelings. Now it's time to get on with my life. And then maybe I had to do it 2 minutes later, but you are catching yourself. What you're essentially doing is catching yourself fueling the fire. You are catching yourself in the act of fueling the fire, which means you are catching yourself in the act of fighting with the thoughts and feelings. You are catching yourself in the act. And there's no easy way to put this, except that it takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of work. It's something you got to be willing to practice. It's got to be something that you're willing to do. You've got to catch yourself in the act of second fear and take the step back and say, you know what? I'm going to accept these thoughts and feelings to the best of my ability. I'm not going to argue with this monkey, right? I'm just going to keep living my life instead. And as you do this, this gets easier and easier. This is not something you have to do for the rest of your life. This is something that gets easier and easier as time goes on, right? But if you're just starting out, you might have to do this a lot at first. You might have to do this a lot at first, right? So it takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of dedication. You got to keep making that. You got to catch yourself in the act of adding that second fear, right? You got to catch yourself in the act of adding that second fear. Because as long as you don't catch yourself in the act of that bad habit and you keep doing it, you're just fueling the fire, right? Right? You're just fueling the fire. So, Jay Joseph, you're a firefighter, right? What's the worst thing you can do for a fire is to dump gas on it, right? So, if you're fighting with your thoughts and feelings, you should be able to relate to this better than anyone in chat. If you're fighting with your thoughts and feelings, I want you to imagine that you've arrived on scene to put a fire out and you've got a can of gas. And this fire is your intrusive, anxious thoughts and feelings. Now, you can step up to this fire and dump that gas on it. What's that going to accomplish? Right? That gas is you fighting with the thoughts and feelings. So if you're trying to put this fire out, the worst thing you can do is walk up to it and pour more gas on it, which is essentially what you're doing when you get worked up and fight with these thoughts and feelings. Instead of catching yourself in the act and taking that step back and saying, I accept these thoughts and feelings instead, right? And then just getting on with your life, even if the thoughts and feelings still want to be there. It takes a while for a fire to burn out, doesn't it? You know that better than anyone, Jay Joseph, right? You know that better than anyone. It takes a little while for a fire to completely burn out. So just because you've stopped adding the gas, which is the fighting with the thoughts and feelings, doesn't mean that fire is going to instantly burn out. It takes a little time. Takes a little time for that fire to burn out. But you get our main point here, right? You get our main point. You've got a gallon of gas in your hand, which is you fighting with the thoughts and feelings, resisting the thoughts and feelings. What is resistance? It's fighting with the thoughts and feelings. You've got that gallon of gas in your hands. You can either pour it on the fire or you can let the fire burn out, right? So that's what this is all about. And sometimes that takes some work catching yourself when you're about to pour that fire or gas on the fire, right? Catching yourself in the act of doing that and say, whoa, 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 let up, buddy. We're not going to pour any more gas. I accept these thoughts for what they are, accept these feelings for what they are to the best of my ability. I'm going to practice this accepting attitude and move on with my day, right? And 10 minutes later, you might notice you're about to pour some gas on there. Or maybe you are in the act of pouring some gas in there. You're fighting with the thoughts and feelings. That's fine. Nobody's perfect. Take a step back and say, well, you're doing it again. Let's let up a little bit. Let's let up with the fight a little bit, right? Right? So I hope you get the main point of what we're really getting at there, which is to practice no longer adding that second fear. I agree with you, John. I agree with you. Sanchez, Wonder Bro, my brother. Sorry I'm late. Damn, YouTube alert. What's up, Sanchez? Better late than never, right? How you doing today, Sanchez? What's up, Frank? I know I've missed a few comments here and there. Yeah, befriend it. Say hello to it. Exactly, because that's the opposite of a fight, and a fight just keeps it alive. You got to look at it like an energy exchange. If you're giving a fight to something, you're basically just giving it energy. If you want something to starve, you stop feeding it, right? There's a million different mantras we can use. You find what works best for you. All right, guys, we're going to switch to post stream real quick. Your boy's going to have to get something to drink. But I hope that analogy there kind of speaks to you, John, especially given the fact that you're a firefighter. So hopefully that analogy kind of speaks to you. All right, stay hydrated, folks. Stay hydrated. just now seeing your comment read. It was held by the bot for some reason, but I understand taking in the knowledge and not using it. And this is where you eventually get to the point where you're like, I've had enough. You know, everybody kind of reaches that point at different points in their life. So some people hit that point sooner, some people hit that point later, but eventually you hit your point where you're like, all right, I got to start catching myself adding this second fear and adopting an accepting attitude instead so this fire can burn out, right? And maybe it takes you a while to get to that point where you're so sick of living the way that you're living that you're going to dedicate to that new accepting lifestyle and living your life and training your brain, right? Um, maybe that bad habit of second fear is just so strong that it does take you a bit to hit that point, but eventually you're going to hit it. Eventually you're going to hit it. How's that heat today, my brother? The heat is non-existent. It is non-existent at my setup. Thanks to Jay Joseph and chat, man. It is life is good. Life is good. So huge shout out to Joseph. How are you doing today, Sanchez? Doing good, I hope. Doing good, I hope. Let's see. Let's look at the new back. Oh yeah, that's so much better than solid black. Oof, that is so much better than solid black. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Good shit. Good shit. I just need to brighten those words up a little bit on the vacate fear, and we'll be good to go with the new overlay. I like it. I like it. Maybe some sort of border for the chat. I don't know. That could be cool. We'll see. I'm always trying to upgrade things around here. Good, bro. I'm glad you're doing good, man. It's awesome to hear. How's everybody else in chat? Talk to me. What's up, guys? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I don't bite. I think the thing that has been caught off guard is that I felt these bodily sensations as a child, and at some point overcame it without even knowing what it is. Then 18 years later, it hits. So, basically, you probably experienced a lot of anxiety in your childhood or something, and due to lack of knowledge, you had two choices to take, which was either just move on with it or obsess about it. And luckily, as a child, you chose to just move on with it, and therefore it fixed itself. Right? The anxiety took care of itself because there wasn't a second fear being poured onto it, gas to the fire. Um, and you had some anxiety pop up in an adulthood, and you accidentally took the obsessive route. So that's all that's happened. That's literally all that's happened. Yeah, no problem, Red. It doesn't matter how long you've been at it, dude. You're learning the knowledge, and because you're learning the knowledge, you're one step ahead of the game. And now eventually you're going to take the next step, which is executing, right? And the execution part takes time. It takes practice. It's not something that a lot of people are perfect at right away. I definitely wasn't perfect at it right away. I had a lot of ups and downs, right? So it's not that you're not doing anything. You're learning the knowledge, and I'm sure you're implementing it in little ways whether you realize it or not. You're aware of it, right? You're aware of the knowledge, you're aware of what needs to be done, you're aware of the practice, and because of that, you're already one step ahead of the game. All right, let's see here, chat. Let's see here, chat. All right, cool deal. Kristen says, loving the stream layout. It's awesome, isn't it? It's so much better. I've been doing little things to it, just trying to completely rework it. Let's see. Let's pick a new. I like the boxed. Let's use the boxed. Let's try that for the chat. Just trying to switch it up a little bit. Just trying to switch it up a little bit. I need to brighten up the wording, but other than that. Other than that, though, we're good. I like it a lot better than that ugly green that we used to have. Ugh. Ugh. I'm definitely a bigger fan of this layout. And I'm always forgetting to advertise my socials like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So now this layout does it for me. Does it for me right down there, so I don't have to remember. I don't have to remember. And plus we're getting to use the where is it at? Over there, down there in the corner, we're getting to use the GIF of Nova that a fan made. So, in case you don't know who the dog is in the corner, that's my dog. It looks exactly like her if you've never seen my dog on stream before. A viewer actually made that and sent it to me. So, now we're getting to use it. Really, the next big step for the stream is finding some sort of music that I can actually download instead of having to play on my web browser. I can actually use it as a source. That'd be a nice thing to work on next. Because then we wouldn't have to worry about catching the ads when the ads happen. Alright. I'd like to find a new font for all of this up here too. Ooh, something I haven't checked today. Something I haven't checked today. We're at 9,886 subscribers. Guys, we are so close. Oof. I can taste it, man. We are so close. I'm from Montreal. French Canadian. Just want to say thanks so much. Hey, I appreciate that. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate that. Let's see. Can I take... Okay. I want to... take... See, I was thinking about taking this... and... putting a border... around the chat. Does that look good? Does that look good, chat? Are we a fan of that? Do we like that? Where's my banner? Does that look good? Are we a fan of that, chat? See, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from my PC. I really need to bring the stream up over on my phone and look at it. You know what? Maybe you're right, Kristen. Maybe if we pull this in just a little bit, it won't be so like squishy looking. There we go. What do you think? Better? Better? I brought it in a little bit more so it wouldn't look so like, you know what I mean? But we can make it shorter and not so close to our wording. Not so close to the wording. And then we can take this and pull it down a little bit so it's not so close. I should actually name this so I know what it is. That might be helpful. Let's see. Let's see how that looks. You know what we need to do? You know what we need to do, chat? Is get this right here. Make this a little smaller. That way it's not so close to the box. There we go. There we go. Does that look better? Does that look better, chat? Hey, Craig. Well, you know exactly what needs to be done. You got to take that step back. You got to drop the words like this sucks, because that's second fear right there. So you got to drop the words like this sucks, I don't want to feel this, I'm suffering. All of that's completely filled with second fear. Got to cut that out of your vocabulary completely. That is not an attitude of second fear or of acceptance, right? That is an attitude of second fear, because the vocabulary like this sucks, I'm suffering, yada yada yada, all second fear, right? You've been having better days, but on the days where you're not having these, comfort, you've got to work on cutting out the second fear, which is all that vocabulary like this sucks, I'm suffering, I don't know what to do. All of that's gas on the fire, right? So, and for those of you who don't know, I keep up with Craig pretty regularly. So you've been having better days, but on the days where you're not feeling so hot, you've got to work on that vocabulary, because that's going to set your attitude up. That's going to set your attitude up. And if you're using words like this sucks, I'm suffering, I don't want to feel this, you're automatically setting yourself up for an attitude of second fear. You're telling your brain with that attitude that there's a problem, that there's danger. And this is fuel to the fire. So it wants to protect you more. So you get more of what you don't want. So on days like this, you really got to catch yourself doing that. You've got to catch yourself doing that. You got to take that step back and you got to say, you know what? I'm okay with these thoughts and feelings. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with these thoughts and feelings. I'm okay with the coming and going of these thoughts and feelings. I'm going to be as okay with it as I can be, because again, no one's perfect and I completely understand that. But I'm going to be as okay with these thoughts and feelings as I can be, and I'm going to make the most of my day instead of laying around talking to myself in this negative way. Instead, I'm going to, I don't know, watch a movie that I enjoy or doing something I enjoy. Whatever. I don't know what you do, but I'm going to just live my life. And I'm not a fan of the way that I feel, but I'm not going to sit around and tell myself things like, this sucks, how do I make this go away? All of this is going to lead to an attitude of second fear. All of this negative vocabulary that you entertain is going to lead to an attitude of second fear. You got to practice catching yourself doing that. You have got to practice catching yourself doing that and taking that step back and saying, I'm not doing that anymore. I refuse to play this game. I'm not going to fight with these thoughts and feelings anymore. I don't like it. I don't have to like it, but I'm going to accept it to the best of my ability. That's my attitude. I'm no longer having this attitude of this sucks, right? So just work on that, and I'm telling you, that's the practice right there. That's what's going to lead to much better results than the current way that you're speaking to yourself. What's up, Andy? It's been a while, dude. How you been? We're just working on the stream a little bit, chatting, hanging out. Just trying to get this new overlay looking good. Let's make Nova a little bit bigger. There we go. I'm trying to find like, let's see. Played some football, so my knees and feet are killing. Is everything going well with yourself? Hey, dude, I'm glad you're having fun. Everything's going good here, man. Just hanging out, chilling. Hanging out, chilling with the chat. Having a good day. How's your channel going, Andy? Going good? Let's see. I know what I'm looking for, but I can't explain it. It's hard to explain. I appreciate it, Andy. I'm still making some changes to it, trying to get it all, trying to get the little details ironed out, but I feel like it looks way better than what we did have. Still a few little things I want to do, though. Still a few little things I want to do to it. I'd like to brighten the Vacate Fear up a lot. Or maybe the brightness is just way down on my phone. Nah, it could stand to be brightened up a little bit, actually. It's pretty dark. Probably do that once we jump off stream in Photoshop. That's where most people find themselves, dude, going in circles, and that's why we call it a practice. That's why we call it learning. You know, because for a while you probably will pick up on those bad habits and still use those bad habits. You probably will still be fighting these thoughts and feelings instead of, you know, practicing that attitude of acceptance. You probably will run in circles for a little bit. Nobody's perfect, right? And that's why myself and, you know, Dr. Claire Weeks, for example, she loved the word practice. And that's why, because it definitely is a practice. The channel is still good, thank you. Still building slowly, and we're monetized now, which is great. Still working hard on the reviews, and just takes so long to produce stuff. Yeah, you know, with your channel and what you do over there, it's more about just quality over quantity. So it's a little different than what I do, because here, as long as I've got like a solid stream set up, then I can just come on here and talk about advice and mental health, you know, all day, every day. It's not something I really have to pre-plan. It's just something I'm knowledgeable about. So I can just come on here and ramble and talk about whatever, as long as it's about mental health. But on something like a review channel, that's something you've got to really take your time on and come out with like a quality finished product. So it's a bit different. We're doing like two different things, but as long as I'm talking about mental health and things that are helping people overcome their struggles, then they'll be here, right? It doesn't matter. They'll be here. But on a review channel, it's like you got a lot of competition, so you got to make sure you got a quality video, or else, you know. So we in two different worlds here, but at the same time, I get it. It's a struggle to grow, period. No matter what you're doing, it takes time. But hey, if you guys are into tech and that sort of thing, you should check out Andy's channel. He actually, he does come out with some good videos, dude. He knows what he's doing. I hate being alone when I'm anxious, but usually love being alone otherwise. So I've been trying to avoid using my friends and family as a crutch. Still feels uncomfortable to be alone with my brain, and it might for a little while. You know, it might for a little while, but you're getting the hang of it. Yeah, Andy, definitely. I guess my main point was that, you know, I can come on here and stream, but you've got videos that you actually have to edit and take time to produce. So it's a bit more time consuming for you to grow as a channel than it is for me, you know, when I can just come on and do streams. But keep at it. Keep at it and you'll get there. So close to 10K, I know, dude. We're so close. I'm excited. I'm bipolar. Do you think that makes it different in my recovery? I wouldn't say it necessarily makes it different. I mean, at the brain's going to work the same way regardless as far as anxiety is concerned. Um, as far as your bipolar goes, I'm sure you've already been to a doc concerning that and you're doing what you can about that. But as far as anxiety is concerned, I wouldn't say it makes it different because second fear is still going to be second fear, whether you've got bipolar on the side or not, right? So whether you've got something else on the side or not, second fear is still second fear. In fact, I mean, I would go out on a limb and I would say that the two main keys: living your life, accepting your thoughts and feelings instead of getting involved and fighting and worked up, all this nasty second fear, right? I would say that I would go out on a limb and say that that would even help with your bipolar, you know? If anything, if anything, I always say that the two main keys are good life advice, so what's up, Will? How you doing, buddy? Hope you're having a good day. Yeah, man, I know. Thanks again. No problem, dude. No problem. Was at work and my truck caught on fire. Damn, dude. I'm glad you're okay. How did that happen? The front brakes. Alright, well, I'm glad you're okay, dude. Jeez. Damn. I've got an idea for what I want to put to the right of me here, but just can't find what I'm looking for. You know what? I kind of like this a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like this a little bit. You know, the channel has like a neon theme going on. Like, that's what I went for. So we might incorporate that a little bit in the actual overlay. Change that up or something every now and then. Actually, I found something better. I like it. Let's see. Trying to get it just right. Add a frame to it, like the comments. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. You know what? You know what we could do? Just to make it exactly the same as, hold on. Exactly the same size as the other one. We'll do it like this. And we'll drag it over here. Why does that look smaller? That's exactly the same size. It looks smaller. Because it's lower? Good enough for now. Like a ruler. Good idea, though. Good thinking, Maddie. Can you please do a renewed version on the meditation topic? I'm still struggling being in the moment on my bad days, but need a refreshing look on it. So I can tell you right now where you're going wrong is you're trying to use meditation as a way to not have any thoughts, which is a surefire way to have more. So when you want to use terms like meditation or present moment or acceptance, understand one thing, it's all the same shit. And number two, understand that your only goal is to be in an accepting attitude of your thoughts and feelings while living your life. So if you're using meditation as a way to silence your mind, it's not going to work. So what you need to do, okay, whether you want to call it meditation or you want to call it, it's all the same. It's all the same. CBT is becoming less and less popular because it wants you to go on for hours on end arguing with your thoughts. But mindfulness, meditation, present moment acceptance, it basically all means the same thing. Get on with your life and stop fighting as much with your thoughts and feelings. So people might argue that and say, well, they're all a little different. They're not really different at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the goal behind mindfulness or meditation or the present moment, it's all to not be so invested in this energy exchange between you and your thoughts and your feelings, which means not to be in such a fight with your thoughts and feelings. So, first and foremost, I would drop the labels. I would drop the mindfulness label, the meditation, present moment. I don't even really use those labels a whole lot on my streams. I do every now and then. But the reason I don't use labels is because automatically you're going to start thinking even more, right? Automatically you're going to start thinking even more. You're going to start worrying even more. Am I doing this particular thing right or this particular thing right? So first and foremost, I would drop all the labels. Kind of throw it all under acceptance. And then if you're going to dedicate to acceptance, understand one thing. It's about not fighting with your thoughts and feelings. So if you're living your life, which means you're trying to be more concerned with living rather than fighting with your thoughts and feelings, you're golden, right? But if you notice that you're sitting around thinking things like, oh, it doesn't stop, I'm trying to use meditation to stop my thoughts and it's not stopping, you're going about it the wrong way. The goal of acceptance, which we just took all those terms and threw them under the umbrella of acceptance, the goal of acceptance is never about, oh, I wish this would stop or I wish that would stop. You're already coming into it with a non-accepting, fighting attitude. So if you're going to dedicate to acceptance, understand one thing. Drop the labels, and it's all about just living your life and not fighting with your thoughts and feelings. That's why I made the two main keys. That's why I came up with the two main keys, so that people would stop having to use confusing terms. Because what happens is people adopt these terms and then they start thinking and worrying even more. Because they're like, oh, I'm not doing it right, which is simply not true. Simply not true. You're just getting involved even more now, right? That's why I've got the two main keys, so that you can make this as simple as possible. If you want to adopt all these other terms, I can't stop you. But if you want to keep it as simple as possible, live your life, stop fighting with the thoughts and feelings. And these things will happen naturally. You'll naturally get back more into the moment. You'll naturally get more involved in the real world as you do these two things. Live your life and stop fighting so much with the thoughts and feelings. Again, that's why I made the two main keys, guys, so that you would stop overcomplicating it, right? Because when you overcomplicate it and you think things like, am I doing meditation right? Well, then you're already doing it wrong because you're already fighting more with your thoughts and feelings. You see what we're getting at? You're already doing more worrying. You see what we're getting at here? Does everybody see what we're getting at? That's why I made the two main keys, to make it as simple as possible. Live your life, stop fighting with your thoughts and feelings, and then congratulations. You can call that mindfulness. Congratulations, you can call that meditation. Congratulations, you can call that being more present, because you've stopped giving so much energy to these thoughts and you've stopped fighting your feelings. You are living your life and you're not fighting as much. I say as much because nobody's perfect, as much with these thoughts and feelings, right? And that's why I made the two main keys, so people would stop confusing themselves like that. Because people pick up these terms and now they've just made it worse on themselves because they're trying to do something and now they're just worrying more. And that's why I made the two main keys. Just live your life and practice not fighting as much with those thoughts and feelings, and everything will start to happen naturally because you stopped adding second fear, right? Catch yourself adding second fear. Take a step back and say, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Instead, I'm just going to live my life. You might notice that you're still very aware of your thoughts and feelings, and that's okay too, as long as you're not fighting them and you're just living. Let these things happen naturally at that point, right? And that's exactly why I made the two main keys. Let's see. Well, I don't think I ever said it's a must-have tool to be better in accepting, but it's a tool that helps with life in general. But understand something, you're overcomplicating it, and that's when you need to make it simpler, right? So if I've got a video that's on meditation per se, focusing on a sound, which means you're taking less of a fight away from the mind. These are good tools to have, but understand something, when you get to the point that you're now overcomplicating it, we need to take a step back, right? We need to take a step back. So if you're going to watch my videos but you're overcomplicating it, take a step back and make it easier on yourself, right? So if I use terms like meditation, or we're talking about meditation here on the channel, for my sensitized people, you might want to make it a bit easier on yourself. You might want to drop the terms and you might just want to go with the two main keys, right? So if you notice that you're overcomplicating terms, like if you heard me mention in a video once, oh, meditation makes it easier to accept, but now you're overcomplicating that, you might want to take a step back and just stick to the two main keys. You get what I'm saying? You might want to take a step back at that point and just stick to the two main keys. So if you hear me say something like meditation makes it easier to accept, focus on a sound, whatever, if you hear me mention these tools, giving people these tools and teaching people about these tools, but yet you've got this attitude of overcomplication, you might want to take a step back and just focus on the two main keys for a bit. You might want to worry about these terms later. If you want to get into meditation later down the road, that's fine. You might want to make it as simple as possible for yourself if you know that you're going to overcomplicate it, because I myself overcomplicated it a shit ton, right? I myself overcomplicated it a shit ton. So here's the thing, and I'll address the whole meditation thing right now. When I say focus on a sound or whatever, if that's just leading to you worrying more, well then you've already lost, right? So when you might want to take a step back and just drop that completely and just live your life and stop fighting with your thoughts and feelings as much. And you can practice focusing on a sound. That's a good tool to have. It kind of puts your attention in the present moment, right? It kind of grounds you a little bit. So you can practice doing that if you would like to. But if you notice that's leading to just more overthinking it, then just take a step back from the terms. You see what I'm saying? Just take a step back. So it's a good tool. It's a good tool, but it kind of falls under the live your life. You know what I mean? So if it's hard for you to kind of grasp the concept of listening to a sound or being more aware of the present moment, if that's kind of hard for you to grasp and you notice that's just leading to more thinking, to more worrying, then let's just drop that. And for you personally, let's just focus on living your life, right? Living your life, not fighting as much with these thoughts and feelings. And you might notice that that's better for you. That's a better approach for you. It leads to less fighting. But there are people out there, and I used to be one, who hear things like, oh, meditation is important, the importance of being present, and then that just adds to their worry. And if you're one of those people right now, you might not always be one of those people, but if you're one of those people right now, then we can cut that out. We can cut that out, and you just focus on living your life and practicing acceptance, not fighting as much with your thoughts and feelings. When they come, step back, give yourself that reminder, I don't have to go down that road. I accept these thoughts and feelings. Get back into living your life, right? If it helps you to keep it more simple like that, right? Great. Because you're not adding second fear. You're practicing not adding second fear. If you're at the point where you want to dive a little bit deeper into meditation, but great. But if it's making it harder on you, when you hear terms like meditation, then you can drop those, right? You can drop those for now, and let's just focus on the practice of acceptance. Let's just focus on the practice of acceptance in general. So there's so many different people out there. Some of them like the terms, some of them don't like the terms. Some of them hear me say this or they hear me say that, and it just leads to more thinking. But all we're trying to do here at the end of the day is teach one fundamental thing, which is acceptance, right? Which is acceptance. So if your mind is kind of latched onto something that's now overcomplicating it for you, I apologize for that. Let's take a step back from that and let's just get to the fundamental practice, which is acceptance in general, right? If that makes it easier on you, let's go that route. And again, I apologize if you heard something that made you think you have to be perfect at something or whatever the case may be, or maybe you heard me say that, being present is going to make it a lot easier for you to heal or whatever, and now you've taken that as something that you have to become a master at before you can heal. I apologize if you got that idea, right? But let's make it simple. If these terms are confusing you, if it's making it complicated for you, let's make it simple instead, and let's practice acceptance. Don't fight with those thoughts and feelings. Live your life, the two main keys. Let's come back to the basics, right? Let's come back to the basics. Because, I know sometimes that can happen. I can say something like in a stream like, oh, it's important that you learn how to be present, or it's important that you learn, and then I can use insert term here, meditation or whatever the case may be, and then that kind of confuses people. It overcomplicates it, and then I never want that to happen, but sometimes that might happen when I'm talking, right? But if that has happened to you or does happen to you, understand that that's okay. We can just get rid of the terms if it makes it easier for you. Let's just get rid of the terms and let's get down to the basics, which is practicing acceptance, not fighting with the thoughts and feelings, living your life. The two main keys, right? That's why I made the two main keys. So, if you're one of those people that you hear me say something and maybe it confuses you, or you hear me say something and now you're like, oh, now this is complicated, or you hear me say something like, oh, it's important to be present, and now that just leads to more worry, okay, well then just forget what you heard. Let's practice acceptance, right? So some people might hear me talk about being present and they latch onto that and they really like it. Some people might hear that and it overcomplicates it, confuses them. So that's why I try not to use those terms that often and just use the two main keys instead. live your life, don't fight with the thoughts and feelings, and then naturally you start to heal and it makes it a lot easier, right? So I try not to use terms because I know it can confuse people sometimes. I try to just use the two main keys because that's all you need. But, you know, again, I apologize if you heard me say something in a past stream along the lines of, oh, it's really important you learn how to do this or that, and then that confused you. I apologize for that. But let's take a step back, and I'm here to tell you now, okay, that if all that stuff is confusing you, drop it for a second, just focus on the two main keys and let these things happen more naturally, right? Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, Asim. I mean, there's probably been many times on the channel where I've said that it's very important that you learn how to be present, or that it's very important that you learn these skills or whatever. And if that's confused somebody or overcomplicated for somebody out there, I apologize. But if you are one of those people, then let's take a step back. You can drop those terms for a minute. And I'm here to tell you today, let's just focus on the two main keys. If you're overwhelmed or confused by the terms that I've used in other videos like meditation or present moment, I apologize for that. Let's just focus on the two main keys instead, right? But at the same time, if you're one of those people who've watched one of those past streams and you really like the idea of those terms and you like those skills or whatever, then that's great too. But if you're not one of those people, you can just focus on the two main keys and let these things kind of happen more naturally, right? Either way. I like what Kristen said in chat. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. I like it. Which, you know, again, Asen, that statement is not untrue when I said that without, you know, focusing on the present moment or a sound, for example, that it's harder to accept because you might be so involved in the thoughts in your head and fighting the thoughts in your head that, you know, it's a bit out of control. So that statement is not untrue. I'm not going back on my statement and saying that that's untrue. I'm just saying if the terms have you confused, let's just focus on the two main keys, not fighting the thoughts and feelings. Live your life, and then naturally as you live your life, focus is starting to become outward because you're living again. So a little bit focus, even if it's just a little bit at first, is starting to become more outward rather than inward. So I'm not gonna take back my statement that you heard in that video. It is true that it's easier to accept if you're more rooted in reality, but at the same time, if those terms confuse you, just get on with living your life, and then naturally the attention will be more outward. Get on with living your life and not fighting with the thoughts and feelings, practicing that, and then you'll still heal, right? You'll still start to heal because attention is starting to naturally become more outward. So I'm not going to take that statement back, but at the same time, I'm going to elaborate a little bit more and say if those statements like that are confusing you and you notice that it's leading to more worry, well then just focus on the two main keys, right? All right, let's switch back over. There we go. So I hope that cleared up a little bit of the confusion there for you, Asen. That is a true statement that I still stand by. It's a lot easier when you've got more attention focused outward. It's easier to not get involved with the thoughts and feelings, but at the same time, as long as you're living your life and you're practicing not fighting with the thoughts and feelings, you got it. You got it. It all kinds of comes back to the same thing at the end of the day. So Do you ever work out, Wonder Bro? Not really. I'm just gonna be honest. Not really. Not like I probably should. I'm not the healthiest person, to be completely honest. Maybe from time to time here and there, but it's not like a regular. It's not like a regular thing. When I'm normal, I know the stuff that makes me anxious is silly as fuck, right? Right. That's the difference between a sensitized nervous system and a desensitized nervous system. It's important to hold on to that though, even in the moments where you don't feel quote unquote normal, right? So even in the moments where it feels completely real because your body is overreacting, remind yourself that you know at the end of the day it's silly and you're not going to fight or energize these thoughts and feelings. What do you mean, like shortness of breath, Will? Because that's very common. Very, very common. Very, very common. But I hope that answers your question, Asen. It's awesome that you enjoy terms like meditation. Don't get me wrong. It's great that you enjoy practicing being present. It's great that you enjoy practicing, you know, being more in the moment and less involved up here. That's all great. And I'm not trying to discourage you from that. I'm just simply saying if you're one of those people who overcomplicate it and now you're noticing that it's leading to even more worry, 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 then maybe you should take a step back from the terms and just focus on the two main keys, which is live your life and not fight with the thoughts and feelings. Because at the end of the day, that's the same thing. It's the same thing as being more present or meditation or all these other terms. It really is the same thing. Um, but if you like those terms and you find that it's helping you, that's great. I don't take back my statement when I said it's. I think you said I said it was easier to accept when you're more present. I still completely agree with that. But if you're at the point where those terms are confusing you or they feel like it's overcomplicating it for you, then let's drop the terms instead and let's just focus on live my life, stop fighting as much with the thoughts and feelings when I notice that I'm doing it, right? Because if you do that, then you basically are meditating. If you do that, then you basically are being more present. If you do that, then you are being more mindful. It's all really the same thing at the end of the day. You see what I'm getting at? Because if you catch yourself fighting with your thoughts and you take a step back and you say, instead, I accept these thoughts and feelings, well then congratulations, you're already more present. You're already more present because you've become more conscious of the fact that you're fighting with your thoughts and feelings. Therefore, you're already a step ahead. You're already a step into being more present, right? So you see what we're saying there? And already naturally, because you caught yourself doing that and you get back into living, your attention has now shifted and you're more back into living a little bit. Now, you might have to rinse and repeat that. You might have to catch yourself in the bad habit of adding second fear. You might have to catch yourself in the bad habit of fighting with your thoughts and feelings. But already, just by catching it and reminding yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings instead, and now I'm just going to live my life, already by doing that, you've become more present. You've become more mindful, right? So really, it's all the same at the end of the day. So if in that stream I said it makes it easier if you're more present to accept, but you're following the two main keys, which is don't fight with your thoughts and feelings, practice not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, and living your life, well then you already are becoming more present. You see how it all kind of comes together at the end of the day? Yeah, I don't know. I go on long rants about stuff like that because I don't want to ever feel like somebody is confused, because my main goal has always been to keep it as simple as possible. It's always been my main goal. So I might have had a stream where I was like feeling all spiritual and stuff and was using like big terms and stuff. Right? Like I may have had a few of those streams in the past, but I still agree with them. It's just if that made it complicated for you, um, just stick to the two main keys. It's all the same at the end of the day. It's all the same. You're becoming more conscious of your bad habits. I don't know how you vape, Will. I tried it, dude, and I just couldn't get into it. Is skipping meals adding to the fear of fear? I feel nauseous so that I don't want to eat. Well, I mean, you gotta eat, right? Like, eventually you gotta eat. So it's one of those things where it's like, I wouldn't say that just because you skipped a meal, you're adding fear to fear, as long as you're not up in your head, fighting with a bunch of thoughts and working yourself up mentally, right? I wouldn't say necessarily that it's adding fear to fear if you skip a meal, but at the same time, you do have to eat. You do have to eat. I've been vaping since sophomore year of high school. Yeah, so you're used to it by now. I tried it. I was going to use it as a substitute to cut back on smoking, and I don't know. I just couldn't get into it. Trying to find a good song. Alright, 1 second, guys. I'll still have the comments pulled up, though. Has smoking ever messed with your breathing? Back when I used to smoke more than I do now, because I used to smoke pretty heavy, it would make it a bit more difficult to breathe at times, but not really to a noticeable degree to where it would bother me, if that makes sense. Like back when I used to smoke menthols, it was way worse. It was way worse. can't believe I used to smoke menthols like I did. Ugh. Even the thought of it chokes me up. Let's see. How long have we been streaming? Not as long as I thought. Let's see, I've got to get this box figured out. You would think they would have like some little built-in tool or something to help you align things a little bit better. But I think that's about as even as we're gonna get it. I think that's about as even as we're gonna get it. That looks good. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Content. Did we gain 2 subscribers? Just in this stream? I think we did. I think we did, chat. Alright, where are we at? Alright. No, there's no way that's a direct copy. Box is definitely bigger than the other one. 100%. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Definitely. Let's see now. Now I need to open up Photoshop and brighten those words up. I don't know why they look so dark on this mobile. Alright, let's see if we can do that real quick. Where you at? Where you at? There you are. Alright. Brightness. I'm gonna brighten it up by like 84. Like, surely that's gotta be better. Alright, let's try this out. Where you at? Remove that. Image. Add new source. How's that, chat? Is that better? Try to get that in the middle, relatively in the middle. Bada bing. Is that better? Let's see. Oh yeah. Maybe a little bit too bright. Maybe a little bit too bright, actually. Try and try again. Try and try again. So this time we'll just do... We did what, 80 last time? This time we'll do 60. 69. There we go. Alright, let's do it. Let's see if this might be the one right here. Okay, this might be the one. Try to get that in the middle. Yeah. Let's see. I've got my stream open on my phone, so I'm like over here comparing. You know what? I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with that. That works. Alright, now what I would like to do is I'm not a huge fan of the lettering up top. It's really boring. Jeez, what is that? It's just really boring. That might be a little bit too much though. Let's test it and see. Is that like even readable? I feel like that's not even really readable. But the other one is so boring, I can't handle it. Ugh. I don't really have many to choose from. The pixel one's kind of cool. Wait, where was that? That one's a little less boring. Try comic font. Let's see. Comic Sans. Like that. How's that? Make it bold. I feel like that's kind of dark. Lighten it up a little bit. Which I can probably download or find a better font once we're done here. I don't know if I can download a font like right now and it'll actually show up, but I can try to find one that's like kind of cool looking, that goes with like the neon style that we got going on a little bit. You know what I mean? Let's try this one. Let's try this one. I can't believe there's still people watching this. I'm just sitting here working on the overlay. You guys are real troopers. You guys are real troopers, man. Why isn't this downloading? Yeah, kind of like the Vacate Fear, which, I mean, I've got the font, the exact font that's in that Vacate Fear there, but it doesn't look good up top with so many words. Let's see. Okay, I downloaded a new font, but I don't know. I might have to restart the whole thing before it's even in here. Let's find out. Yeah, I'll probably have to do it later. I don't think it's gonna pop up. Let's see. I've got this one, but see what it does? Like, what is that? It makes it weird. I don't know why it does that. So we'll just have to stick to that one for now. Until I can get it rebooted. Until I can get it rebooted. Do you like the pixel one? Like this? Like that? See, I can remove the outline from it. Probably just make the outline smaller. Like that. Just make the outline smaller. There we go. A lot of people. It's funny you mentioned that, Sean. A lot of people was not. I don't know. I guess you could say they weren't thrilled. I mean, people still call me Wonderbro, but a lot of people weren't thrilled by Vacate Fear because they're so afraid of the word fear that they didn't like the name. And I liked that they didn't like it because of the word fear. You got to get comfortable with it, right? So at first I was like, oh man, people don't like the word fear being in the thing. And then I was like, you know what? That's because they're still adding second fear. So they're going to deal with it. They're going to deal with it. You need to get comfortable with the word fear. I don't know. I thought that was funny. Yeah, I used to use a green screen, but that shit was just so complicated. It's ridiculous. It wasn't really complicated, but unless you had the area like well lit, the green screen just wouldn't work. It looked all like bad and stuff. I think this is on point. Nice. Okay. It does look good, man. It does look good. I like it. It's a lot better than that than the way we were streaming up like a couple days ago. Like that puke green. I did not like that puke green. And I like that everything is in a nice little border now. I'm no longer feeling anxious as before, but feel completely exhausted all the time. Is this a normal part of anxiety recovery? Can I assume at some point the exhaustion will go away? You can assume that, but during the process, don't get yourself too worked up about it. Because again, what we talk about here, it all comes down to being more involved in just living while accepting your thoughts and feelings instead of being in a mental war with them all the time. So don't get into a mental war with yourself about the exhaustion. Accept it the best that you can, which means to not fight with these thoughts and feelings about it and not become so worked up and worried about it, right? Catching yourself when you do that and taking that step back, bringing the attention back into just living instead, bringing, more of the attention. I'm not saying you won't be aware that the thoughts and feelings are still there, but just do your best to get back into living instead. And if you notice yourself fighting thoughts and feelings about your exhaustion, for example, understand that you're just adding second fear. Take a step back, remind yourself, I accept these feelings for what they are, accept these thoughts for what they are. I'm not going to fuel the fire. I'm going to get back into living my life. And it's kind of like a rinse and repeat process. You're taking a step back from getting yourself worked up over the way that you're thinking and feeling, right? Basically, essentially, you're no longer adding gas to the fire and you're just living your life instead. So as long as you're doing that, accepting the exhaustion for what it is, you're good. You're good. And eventually, yes. I mean, you got to think you've been through a lot. Your body and mind has been through a lot recently. So, of course they're exhausted, of course they're tired. Why does the mind think it can gain control of the future when it has none? I mean, that's what it does. It tries to predict for survival purposes. Don't play its game and eventually it'll slow down. I'm actually extremely surprised that there's still people watching this right now, considering this whole stream has mostly been me just working on my stream. I mean, not the whole stream. We did have a great point of the stream. I'm happy with it. But you get what I'm saying. I'm surprised there's still people watching. Past 45 minutes has just been me working on this. So, I'm surprised. Why is this all over the place? My view on breath work is that the more you try to control your breathing, just like the more you try to fight your thoughts and feelings, the more you tend just to get worked up. That's my honest opinion on breath work. But, that's a personal choice, I would say. But my honest opinion on breath work is that it's just going to get you more worked up in the end, because then you're sitting there fighting, trying to calm yourself down, yada, yada, yada. But it might help some. I don't know. It might help some. If it helps you, that's fine. And my opinion on chanting, chanting is one of those things where it's like you're trying to do something in order to forget, and if you've got that attitude, chances are you're not going to forget. You're going to become even more hyper-focused on what you're trying to forget about. It's ironic how it works that way. So, but these are things that if they help you to accept, and I mean to really accept your thoughts and feelings, if breath work, if you're doing it in such a way that you're accepting and you're not trying to do it to force any feelings away, then great. Chanting, if your chanting makes you more present and makes it easier for you to not fight with your mind, but you're still accepting, this is the key, you're still accepting the thoughts and feelings, then go for a chant, But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work that way. People that do breath work are getting themselves more worked up. People that chant are trying to forget a thought, which means they're just going to think about it more. So 9 times out of 10, these little techniques don't really help in the long run, because people do them from a state of resistance. Does that make sense, chat? People are using these techniques from a state of resistance. They're not getting to the root. The root of the problem is you are fighting your thoughts and feelings and therefore giving them more energy than they deserve. That's the root of the problem. Now, if these little techniques help you and you're accepting and you're not adding second fear, as long as you're not adding second fear, which means as long as you're not fighting your thoughts and feelings and getting worked up over them, you can chant if you want, right? But I think you get my point. Whatever you do, whatever you do in life, as long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings and you're accepting them, then great. That needs to be your main practice. All these other little techniques that you have or whatever, I don't know. It's up to you. It comes down to the individual. But as long as you're doing the main work, which is not adding that second fear, which is not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, good. We just got a notification for something. I'm not sure what. I can't see at the moment. I think it was a subscriber, maybe? I don't know. I gotta work on this post-stream screen. I'm no longer a fan. It doesn't really match the theme that I'm going for. So let me give you an example on the what I meant by if you're using the chanting but you're using it in an accepting way. So if you're sitting there chanting, trying to force yourself to forget about thoughts or feelings and trying to fight them off, probably not going to work. If you're chanting and as these thoughts and feelings come, you have an accepting attitude and you say, okay, I accept these feelings, I accept these thoughts, and then just get back to your chanting, then I don't see how that could be harmful. But if you're chanting with the hopes of forcefully forgetting these thoughts and feelings or trying to fight them off, probably going to backfire. So can you see the difference between the two there? Whoever asked that question, who was it that asked that question? Was it Rahul? Do you see the difference there? So if you're using chanting in such a way that you're trying to fight the feelings and thoughts, probably going to backfire. But if you have an accepting attitude, no matter what you're doing with your day, whether it's chanting or not, as long as you have an accepting attitude and these thoughts and feelings come and you remind yourself, I'm not going to add second fear, instead I accept these thoughts and feelings, I'm going to work on accepting these thoughts and feelings, I'm not going to fight with them, and then you get back to your chanting, well then so be it. That's fine. So do you see the big difference there? Do you see like the huge, huge difference? What my main point is there? Because you're the best. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ellie. You help us, we support you. I appreciate that, Maddie. Do you know how long it takes for the exhaustion to die down? Honestly, if you get really, really invested in that worry, it's probably just going to stress you out. So again, it always boils down to not fighting your thoughts and feelings. As far as how long it takes, that would just be a really educated guess because it's hard to tell. Everyone's a bit different on how long symptoms come and how long they last, and rinse and repeat, whatever. So I really can't give you like a solid estimate there. Like I wouldn't even know where to begin. But I will say, don't become too invested in the worry about it. Don't become too invested in the worry about it. That's just going to add to your stress, right? Your frustration. So that's really at the end of the day what the advice always is going to boil down to, is not adding the gas to the fire. So. Hernandez, thank you for subscribing, dude. I appreciate it. The thing that puts me off is that there were several times where my thoughts came true and I don't like bad things catching me off guard. Well, that's how bad things work, right? So whether you spend the next 2 months worrying about a bad thing happening and then the bad thing happens, it's still going to happen, regardless. Whether you're caught off guard or not, if there's nothing you can do about it, there's nothing you can do about it. All the worry in the world is not going to change it. It's not going to make you any more prepared. Bad things still happens. You're no more prepared than you were if you hadn't had worried for 2 months, right? It's because said thing happened, right? So that's the thing about worry. Whether bad things happen or they end up never happening, there's no way to really tell. But regardless, the worry served no purpose in the end, right? Regardless, the worries serve no purpose in the end. If I use meditation when my thoughts race to make myself feel calm, I'm not fighting thoughts, I'm focusing on a likable sound and let the thoughts be. In one moment they are just gone. Is that okay? That is perfectly okay. And again, I apologize, Asen, if that stream that I did, I think it was 6 months ago, I apologize if that confused you when I said that it's important that you try to be more present, that it makes it a lot easier. I apologize if the way that I worded that confused you. It always will come down to the two main keys: accept your thoughts and feelings, don't fight with them, and live your life. As long as you're doing that, you're automatically, naturally going to become more present. Does that make sense? But if it helps you to purposely focus on a likable sound or something, just to kind of ground yourself, but at the same time, just like you said in your comment, you're not fighting with the thoughts when they come. You're just making the conscious choice to, instead, I want to listen to this likable sound, right? Because that makes it easier for me to not fight with my thoughts. Then that's great. That's fine. You can use that technique. But you get what I'm saying. As long as you're living by the two main keys, which is live your life, don't fight with the thoughts, and don't fight with the feelings, you got it. You're naturally going to become more present. You're naturally going to be healing. But if, like I said in that stream 6 months ago, if it helps you and it makes it easier, and it does make it a lot easier for a lot of people to be involved in life and have the senses on a nice sound that they like, if that makes it easier to keep you grounded and not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, great. If you want to chuck that out the window and you can not fight with your thoughts and feelings just fine by just living your life, great. Either way, it doesn't matter. As long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, thumbs up. As long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, thumbs up. Whether you like to listen to a likable sound, because that makes it easier for you, or whether you just want to go and play Minecraft, right? Doesn't matter. As long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, thumbs up. So I apologize if when I said that 6 months ago, if that confused you, but as long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, I don't care if you want to listen to a likable sound. That might make it a lot easier on you. And like I said in that stream, makes it easier for a lot of people. I don't care if you don't want to listen to a likable sound and rather you just want to go play Minecraft. Or maybe you want to play Minecraft while you listen to a likable sound. Right? As long as you're accomplishing the main goal, which is not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, I don't really care what you do. Like somebody mentioned chanting earlier. I don't really care what you do. If you want to chant, if you want to listen to a likable sound, that was just a little tip that I wanted to give that makes it a lot easier on people. But if that overcomplicates it for you, I'm sorry. You don't have to do that. Um, but I don't really care what you want to do. If you want to chant, if you want to listen to a likable sound, if you want to just live your life, if you want to play Minecraft, if you want to play Minecraft while listening to a likable, I don't care. That was just a stream that I did to try to give people a little tip on making it easier to not fight with their thoughts and feelings. But whatever works for you, dude. Whatever works for you. As long as you are not fighting with your thoughts and feelings and you are living your life, you get a thumbs up from me. You get a thumbs up from me, right? Mine keeps racing, so I started to look for a handbrake. Understandable, but also understand this. You don't want to fight the thoughts and feelings. So there's a difference between consciously being aware that you have a lot of thoughts and feelings and now you're taking action to just get back into your life, but you're accepting those thoughts and feelings, right? So don't come into it thinking, oh, well, I need to find a way to stop the thoughts and feelings, because then you're just going to add to them. So whether you're listening to a likable sound or you're playing Minecraft, um, as long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, eventually they're going to lose energy. Eventually they're going to lose energy and you get a thumbs up from me, right? So your mindset doesn't need to be how to make them stop, but rather, I'm not fighting with them. And if it helps you to do whatever, then okay, right? But as long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, eventually they will lose energy, and that is the main point. getting a little hungry, guys. Not gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie to you. I'm getting a little hungry. Hey, and that's great, Asen. That's great. I'm glad you mentioned that comment. I'm glad you mentioned that stream. That way I could address that, because I don't want anyone to feel confused. That stream was just me trying to give you a helpful tip to make it easier to not fight with your thoughts and feelings, by maybe listening to a likable sound, like you said. But at the same time, I don't care what you do. You can chant, you can listen to a likable sound, you can play Last of Us 2 like you just said in your comment. As long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, thumbs up. They're going to eventually run out of energy. Thumbs up. They're going to eventually run out of energy. That stream was just me trying to give a tip, right? And maybe that was my bad. Maybe I possibly worded that a little bit wrong in that stream and made it seem like you have to listen to a likable sound in order to not fight with your thoughts and feelings. And if that's the vibe that you got from that stream, I apologize. That's not the message that I was trying to convey. I was just trying to give a tip to make it easier to not fight with your thoughts and feelings. But you can do whatever you want to do. I don't care what you do. As long as you're not fighting with your thoughts and feelings, they're going to lose energy, right? Had my anxiety since 2 months. It's only been 2 weeks since I discovered this channel. I felt big progress. That's awesome, dude. Hey, Wonder Bro, thanks a lot. Your content has helped me so much. I've been struggling with severe neck muscle tension caused by anxiety, which causes anxiety. Any advice? It's kind of ironic how it works like that in a cycle. So no matter what your symptoms are that you're dealing with, try to remember that regardless of the symptom, you know, when we're dealing with anxiety symptoms in general, the thing that we want to practice avoiding, and I don't use the word avoid a lot, but the thing that we want to practice avoiding is not adding that second fear. So although it's not fun and it's definitely not comfortable to experience anxiety symptoms like muscle tension, the thing that you want to try to practice is not trying to force the symptom away, but rather not trying to add stress and strain to it, aka that mental fight, right? That's your job, and that's your only job. The symptom will take care of themselves in time. So you just focus on your job. You focus on your job. That is your job, and you just need to focus on your job. Alright guys, we've been streaming WoW for over 2 hours now. I'm going to go ahead and end this one here. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We are right around the corner from 10K. It's been a good one. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the new overlay. I'm pretty hype about it. And I will see you guys in the next stream and or video. And until then, as always,